This is the Offenders Podcast. You are directly in violation of Penal Code 113, Section 8. The word used, fuck, shit, piss, dick, cunt, and other foul language. Viewer discretion advised.
Welcome back to another episode of the Offenders Podcast. As always, I'm Kyle, joined by my co-host, Evan.
You know, you always say, as always, I'm Kyle. Have you ever been anybody other than Kyle?
Funny you say that. For a long time, to some people, I was known as Jeremy.
Jeremy.
That's my first name. And there was an incident that occured where a group of people were talking about me. One group was talking about Kyle. The other group was talking about Jeremy. They're both like, wow, these two guys should really meet. Turns out I'm the same person.
Now, did you change your name because you murdered a classroom full of students and a teacher and Pearl Jam wrote a song about you?
No. The name does come from school, though. That's where they used to call me, and I was just too lazy to ever correct them. So they called me Jeremy there.
Speaking of lazy, my name is Evan. And sitting across from me in this new location, which we'll tell you about later, he moved.
I can't get out
That
from across
clever bastard. His name is Shane.
Yes, his name is Shane. He's a wonderful gentleman.
Isn't that an old Western movie?
It is.
Don't let him
book.
go, Shane! Yeah. It's not my fault, lady. I wasn't even there.
So this week we also have a guest. We have an individual by the name of Mr. Stephen Wilds. Stephen, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
How's everybody doing? My name is Stephen Wilds. I am fortunate or unfortunate enough to be friends with these fine gentlemen. And I am also an individual who writes a lot on the interwebs. I do several articles for Blankman Inc. and for Culture Mass. And I also write a weekly wrestling article for WrestlingNewsSource.com. And I actually am a member of a couple of other podcasts, one of which happens to be with Kyle here.
Yep, Comics and Controllers.
Right.
So, mostly what you write about, Stephen, is comic books and video game stuff, and then you have your wrestling article you do too, right?
That's correct. And I do the occasional movie review. I recently reviewed Atlas Shrugged Part 1, if you ever want to torture yourself.
To quote somebody, Atlas sharded.
Atlas did indeed shard. And the problem is that he sharded 2 more times.
Yeah. So this week, since we've got somebody who talks about comic books on the interwebs, we want to talk a little about comic books. Because I've recently started rereading them, and I know that Evan and Shane both have it, in the past, if not now, still read them a little bit, correct?
That is correct.
So, but we don't want to just talk about like a certain comic or one thing in particular from, one guy. We want to talk about something that's overlooked within comics. We have these people who have these super abilities, these powers, intelligence, whatever you want to think about for whoever your hero is of choice. But there's the everyday things that come up in these guys' lives that no one really thinks about. We need to be concerned about stuff like this.
Yes.
Is this like, does Tony Stark actually eat Burger King like he did in the movie? Is it something like that?
Well,
why wouldn't he? It's delicious.
Burger King is pretty delicious. Way more delicious than McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Except for their fries. Their fries are kind of disgusting.
Their fries are the weak point in their empire.
They used to be good, but they fucked it up.
If you could somehow put McDonald's fries with Burger King's hamburgers, you would have the best fast food.
Yeah, it would be a fast food conglomerate of epic amazingness, taste, proportions.
I would be the weird guy and say I'd rather have Checkers fries.
No,
only after they've cooled for about 5 minutes.
Those are good because those are like the battered fries almost.
Those are a trap, man. You're like, you pick up the fry, and on the outside it's cool. Because it's like a hard shell, and you're like, oh, I guess it's safe to eat. Oh, hot lava in my mouth. Oh, congratulations.
Liquid potato to burn the skin out of your mouth.
He's right, though. That's exactly how it happens.
That's why they used to give you the giant bucket of soda when you ordered a large.
You dump it on your face.
Don't sue us. We gave you extra soda.
Speaking of hot lava in my mouth, let me tell you how stupid my brain is. I was watching lava videos on the internet when I got home from work night before last because I haven't watched it in a while, and I was like, damn.
Lava videos.
What is lava videos?
Yeah, I mean, like videos of volcanoes?
Yeah, just like lava creeping down the mountain and like
is this
destroying
what you
an
do to entertain
iPad.
yourself?
Yes,
That's
many
really weird.
things.
Okay. Right.
And it like destroyed a Coke can and it was boiling the water.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? This is what my brain said. It's like, hey, Evan, man, lava kind of looks like cotton candy.
What the hell are you talking about?
And I was like, dude, it does. Why do I want to eat lava now? And no shit. The very next day on that, a girl put, I want to eat it. And I was like, it's not just me. It's not just me who thinks it looks like delicious cotton candy.
So there are other weird people out there.
Maybe there's that. Now I'm thinking of there's that TV show that's about people that are addicted to eating weird things. Like the people who eat like
Baby
soap
powder.
cushions and baby powder
yeah.
and soap and stuff. Like, what about that person who's addicted to eating lava? I mean, they only tried it once.
I'm sure that's what I'm saying. I don't think it counts as an addiction.
You can't get addicted to that.
The first time it kills you, were they addicted? I don't know.
Well, no. You're not thinking. They're probably smart about it. They wait for it to cool, but then they mix it with like some ice cream, like flake it in, you know? So they're actually just eating the ash or what is the rock called?
I can't think of the type of rock. It's not igneous. It's not metamorphic.
I can't think
Lava
of it.
rock?
But they
Yes, the term.
It's not igneous?
But they flake it and they put it into like the ice cream or maybe sherbet if you're feeling particularly special.
Yes,
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, now that we got off topic,
We always do.
I was going to say, actually, no, the things I was thinking about with superheroes and their problems are stuff like, how does Beast wipe his ass?
I'm sure it's possible for him to do, but it takes a long time, I bet.
I mean, this guy's got he's hairy all over. Is it, or maybe he's like a baboon. You've never seen his ass.
That's why he wears underwears.
He's always wearing those underoos things for like his X-Men uniform.
I mean, these are really like hard-hitting thoughts that I have about comics. Like, how does Beef wipe his ass? Like, I think we discussed before, maybe he has somebody who just picks shit out of his hairy ass all day.
Here's what you need to ask yourself, Kyle. How does a gorilla in the wild wipe his ass?
Wow, I've never really thought about that. Do they wipe their ass?
On smaller gorillas.
Right.
That's an Eddie Murphy joke.
I was actually going to say,
rating.
I'm not saying every gorilla does this, but I remember we had to watch a video in class, and this gorilla, after taking a shit, just walks up to this tree, and it's just basically like, yep, we just wipe my ass on that.
I thought he just had an itchy asshole. Maybe he wasn't even wiping his
Maybe,
ass.
but that's my guess on how Beast does it.
That
That is my guess.
Or maybe he has like a rug shampooer he uses.
Oh.
And he just and if you're the new person on the team, it's your job. All right, get the rug shampooer.
It's time for the worst joke I'm ever going to make in my life. Now, when you have shit that sticks to your ass hair, it's called dingleberries.
Dingleberry, yeah.
Now, since he has blue fur, does that make them dingle blueberries? That's the worst joke I've ever made. I'm sorry.
No, I have heard you make much worse jokes. That's actually decent.
That's pretty terrible.
That's just disgusting. I mean, I like bad jokes, but that's a disgusting joke, and I'm sorry.
That one is the difficulty of getting it out. Now, how does the Blob wipe his ass?
Oh,
Well, he's like those weightlifters who are so ripped they can't reach back there. He probably has a bidet.
A bidet, yeah.
Or a water hose. He just hoses them down.
He just has pyro shoot a blast of flame. He's so tough, he just burns it all.
The smell.
There's an episode. There's an episode of the '90s X-Men cartoon that the Blob is in, and at one point you see the doorway that they all came through. And I remember even as a kid going, "Nah, the Blob couldn't have fit through that."
But you know Beast isn't the only one whose asshole we should be thinking about. I mean, what about how does Lady Deathstrike wipe her ass?
That's another good question.
I mean,
another bidet.
That's
another
dangerous.
bidet right there.
I don't know. Isn't she like? Doesn't she have like cybernetic parts? So maybe like this, her arm just pops open. And there's a special ass wiper that comes out and it's just like
the paws like reform into a dildo.
Oh jeez.
Or actually, I'm thinking like maybe she doesn't necessarily like have her hand turn into something, but maybe like her asshole's like a valve that just opens and it just seals back out.
Before I throw up all
really
over
think of
our
everything.
computers, I would like to switch this to something different. Now, what kind of condom does the Thing use? Because his dork is made of rock.
All right. I can answer
He
that.
uses cement sealer.
You do know that duct tape makes a condom.
Oh my god!
What?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt him. It's made of rock.
Hold on. First of all, the company who makes duct tape at one point, they don't sell them anymore. Apparently, they made a condom.
Out of duct tape.
No.
Oh,
Was it called fuck tape?
It was using some of the same like chemical processes and stuff they use to make duct tape because it was supposed to be like the strongest condom on the market. But it's not going to like duct tape itself to your dick. Hopefully. I mean, I never tried it. I don't know. I was going to go buy the Barack Obama condoms that they had. Did you see those? Because it's Barack Obama's face on the tip of a condom.
Oh, wow.
So the head of your penis looks like Barack Obama as you're fucking your lady friend.
There's a book that was written by Warren Ellis. He's a comic writer, so I'm kind of tying it back in. All right, so he wrote this book, and it talked about all this crazy stuff in America. And two of the things that I remember when you talking about the Barack Obama condoms, one is when they go to Vegas, there's a Jesus-themed casino, and the condoms you get in that casino have Jesus' face on the reservoir tip.
I remember that because it's
So
a Crooked Little Vein.
Yeah, that's the name of the book.
Actually,
Crooked
the
Little
reason
Vein.
you read that book is for the weightlifters injecting the saline solution into their balls.
Or the
part.
Godzilla Bukkake.
The Godzilla Bukkake. How could I forget about
That's
that?
like the first crazy thing that happens in the book is Godzilla Bukkake.
Jesus
But
Christ.
the duct tape condom and the Barack Obama condom were out around the same time because it was like 2008, 2009.
Okay.
And I actually wanted to go buy one of each, not to use, but just to
Just
say
to have
I had
them.
it. But I didn't.
Oh my
sadly.
god.
All right, let's make this a little cleaner. Where does Longshot find gloves for driving?
He only has 4 fingers,
Yeah.
right?
That's right. Is he always just going to have that one flappy finger and looking? Hey guys, I got normal hands.
Does he just cut it off and maybe he can sew? He just sews up that one part he got off.
I've got it. He's lucky, so he's going to happen into the place where it's like, this is the scratch and dent section. This only has 3 fingers on it.
Look,
Yes.
they make an entire store just for left-handed fuckers. All right,
Yeah.
so maybe they make a store or just have a line for just
For Marvel
four-fingered people.
characters. So that's where you get your condoms for thing. That's in that section. You get your...
How does he
I'm
still have a
just
goddamn
thinking-
mullet? May I ask that?
I'm just
No
thinking-
answer.
Yeah.
He's from another dimension.
Yeah,
It's cool.
Mullets
there.
are still in.
Mullets are in the Mojoverse.
In the Mojoverse, mullets rule, man.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
I hate that place even more now. I'm sorry if you have a mullet.
That's true.
Kyle and I had a discussion recently about in some of the recent X Factors, they go into more detail about where Longshot and Shatterstar actually come
Oh
from.
my goodness.
And I'm just going to put this out there, and we're not going to discuss any further, but technically they're each other's father. Just leave it at that.
No,
Yeah.
that's an everyday problem. It's actually
Evan looks like his
Yeah.
brain actually needs to reboot for a second.
My brain just exploded and is now reforming.
It has to
Okay,
do with
good.
time travel, cloning, and a lot of really weird shit, and Dazzler not knowing she was pregnant and had a baby. And I feel
How do
really
you
bad for
She
Dazzler.
didn't know she had. That bitch is loopy.
They were raising
That's
No,
one ditzy bitch if you don't know you're pregnant. I mean, really.
Itsy bitch.
in her defense, she was there trying to help Mojo, the actual good people in the Mojoverse, fight against Mojo. But Shatterstar and I think Richter erase her memory so that they can preserve the timeline.
That
So
is
she
some
never knows.
creepy rape shit right
That
there.
it
Like,
is.
I know I knocked her up, man, but just make her forget about it.
Yeah, just
I don't have
no.
to deal with it.
Actually,
Poor Dazzler.
it's hey, this is my mom, and I'm in her belly right now, but she can't remember that. So let's deliver the baby, give it to someone else, and then erase her memory.
Oh, okay.
That's like some high-tech Georgia shit right there. I'm going to have sex with my mother, but I got this fancy newfangled device. I ain't going to make her remember shit about it. Hell yeah, I'm my own dad.
I was really glad to hear. I read an article yesterday about this dude getting caught for having sex with a pit bull, and he didn't understand why it was against the law for him to do this. But I was so glad. I was expecting either Georgia or Alabama, maybe Florida, but it's going to be one of those 3 states, and it was like Pittsburgh or somewhere.
Oh,
I
man.
was like, yes,
That
we
totally
dodged
sounds
that
like
bullet.
a Florida man. Incident.
Yeah, Florida man, definitely.
Florida man fucked a pit bull.
If you guys don't know by now, just Google quotation, Florida man in quotation.
Are
and
you talking about
enjoy.
the Twitter account that they do?
I'm just talking about his many adventures
Oh,
across many news.
Maybe it was
networks.
a thing where it's like this one pit bull every time he walked by was growling at him. It's like, you know what? I'm not afraid of you, mother. You know what? Growl at me one more time. Growl at me one more time and see what I do to you.
Did you really just say that pit bull provoked it?
Yeah.
Did
Yes,
you
it was
say that
great.
the pit bull
It was-
was asking
What
for
was it wearing? That collar with the diamond stud? It wanted it.
Oh, God.
Oh my god. Fucking slutty ass pit bulls.
I know.
Okay, time to change the subject again. Fuck it. Let's go with it. Does Squirrel Girl get stalked by fur people?
It doesn't
I
matter.
almost said the internet term for them, but I caught myself.
She can take on Galactus. I'm sure she can take on a few furries.
Does she be fucking Galactus too? What is it about this goddamn squirrel that I'm not understanding?
No, she
That's
beat
a badass
Galactus.
squirrel.
Yeah.
Don't you want a piece of that squirrel?
And where does Galactus get his condoms at?
The truth is that you have to remember
Pig's
that
plan.
Squirrel Girl has an unlimited amount of strength. Her strength is based off of an equation, not off. There's no
Oh.
cap. She's like the Hulk. There's no actual limit for her strength.
Does that
Is it
include
like
her durability as well? Because
Yeah,
if not,
yeah.
as soon as like Galactus looks at her, she dies.
Yeah.
But what's like the whole? You said based on an equation. Is it like the anti-life equation?
That's what it is.
Dark side.
She's fucking Darkseid.
Well, no, it's like Hulk's is based off his anger.
Yeah.
So it's anger amplified strength. Blah blah blah. I don't read enough Squirrel Girl to break
It's
it down
probably-
exactly for you. But I was looking it up one day because I was really curious how the hell she was able to beat
I mean, because she's
Galactus.
beating like MODOK
Yeah.
and Thanos and Doctor Doom.
And then they made her the fucking babysitter for the Avengers for Luke Cage's kid.
I mean, that's legit
Yeah.
shit.
That's-
right
that's
there.
I mean, I was like, if
What
you
the
really
fuck?
want to make sure your baby's safe, I guess that's a good person.
Yeah.
But I was like, shouldn't, because during the, I think it was Fear Itself event, the city's going to shit, and she's over there taking care of the baby. I'm like, no. You get somebody else to take care of that damn baby. You get out there and you fight
Get
these
somebody
fuckers.
shit like the fucking Thing to go take care of your baby. I mean, has he beaten all these people on his own before? No, you have. Go do it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the name of her squirrel's name? Was Monkey Joe?
Monkey Joe.
Something
Yes.
like that, yeah.
Well, here's a question: would you bang Squirrel Girl?
I forgot what she looked like, but probably yes.
Yeah.
I haven't banged anybody in almost 4 years.
So at this point,
There have been there have been few offers from women, but they're fucking crazy. So is Squirrel Girl crazy? I don't know her well. Tell
I
me,
mean,
did you ever go on a date with her?
I mean, she doesn't really come across. She talks to squirrels,
I would define her as quirky, but my problem is the tail. It would bother me.
but it's not real, is it?
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, I thought it was part of the costume. Whoa, now this brings up some stuff we really got to be.
Oh, well,
I'm not big into furries.
Yeah, no.
You do what you want to do as long as you ain't hurting
it's
anybody
just
else.
a tail.
But-
Now I'm with Shane on this. You know, it'd be different if she had like paws, because that would be creepy. But if it's just a tail, you know.
Give you a
It's
paw
just,
job.
you got to remember though.
Ah,
You gotta remember, though, it's a big tail. Squirrels have giant fucking
it
tails.
still, it's just a tail. Tail and ears are fine.
Oh shit!
I would never have to carry her fucking purse
Oh,
because her tail would have like, oh, my arms are full. I'd be like, bitch, you got a tail.
What is it got it's like a trailer? You just put stuff on the tail and then
It's
drag it around.
It's a tailor.
It's a tail, yes. And it can make long shot clubs for them.
Oh,
Since it's a
nice.
tail.
Yes, in that case, yes, I would have sex with Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl, if you're out there.
That's,
My name's Evan Jones.
That's like with Spider Woman. We had a conversation one day. Since her powers, are a little bit different. Like, does she actually spin her own webs and stuff? Like, if you walked in on her when she thought she was alone, is she hanging upside down and like
Web out her twat.
Yeah. It's not Spider Babe. That's the porno.
Oh, okay.
And depending on the texture of those webs, if she was asleep and something ended up on her that she didn't know about, she might not notice. Be like, oh, how'd you get web on your leg there? Why do you have web on your butt cheeks?
Now we're going back
So,
to creepy rape.
This isn't
I'm not wearing
necessary.
Nike, dude.
This isn't like an everyday problem, but there's some everyday advantages. Could you imagine like Spider-Man? Because in some of his comics, his danger sense is really sensitive to all kinds of things. So like, he's talking to his girlfriend, he starts to say something, he's like, no, never mind.
That's
Would you like
awesome.
some chocolate?
That's amazing.
Does that work for like if you go buy a lottery ticket and the guy starts handing the lottery ticket and he's like, nope, you need the other one.
He reaches for nope. Yep. That
He'd
was
have
awesome.
to be. He'd be behind Longshot though, because Longshot would be like, ticket number 75.
Yeah.
That one right there.
But Longshot is not out for personal gain. Like, they even address that in X Factor. Like, his luck really is just, it's almost like dumb luck. I
Don't
appreciate.
they also play up Longshot as an idiot too? They did it at one point in older X Factor. Like they made Longshot out to be like this 80 idiot guy.
Yeah.
This 80s idiot guy just walking around like, hey, how's it
Yeah,
going?
awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
they
ready even
they
more now.
dumbed that down, but like
Okay.
they define him as like an airhead. Like, there's one
Yeah.
problem that they're trying to solve, and like he knew the answer the whole time, and so they're finally like, "Why didn't you? You could have told us and saved us a lot of trouble." And he's like, "I just figured you guys knew." It's almost like he reminds me of like Brendan Fraser from Encino Man.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I like how Marvel does their luck, because then you have people like Black Cat who have like the bad luck. So not only a guy comes up to shoot her, not only does the bullet not happen, it jams his gun and sometimes will blow up in his hand. And I like to think that she uses that like in her everyday life. Like some bitch cuts her off like in traffic, and somehow she gets a flat tire. I like to think she's really petty with that shit.
Oh yeah. I would.
Does she use it on purpose or just happen?
Now, hers, she can't use it like an ability. It's just based around the.
Then that's an everyday problem for whoever she's dating.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Oh my god!
But hopefully, if it's the right guy for her, it won't affect him as much. But if it's some douchebag that's trying to,
that's why she's after Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like he can survive it. He's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
He'll know what's
Exactly.
coming. He'll get out of the
Oh
way.
my god! Just think about it. All the bad shit's ever happened to Spider-Man because of Black Cat.
That's right.
All of it.
Holy shit.
Everything.
Now that's a conundrum
Even
because you're
though
like, man, every time I'm around her, I have all this bad, but I am Spider-Man and that's Black Cat.
That costume is low
I'm
cut.
gonna tap that cat.
That whole explains. In the late '90s, Peter Parker had like another baby. It was like a girl, and they got rid of that character altogether. They just dropped the plot line, and they ended up turning it into the actual Spider Girl. But that technically was like Earth 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
they were doing with
it
it.
was like alternate Earth or something.
But that's what happened. Black Cat's bad luck was so powerful, it didn't just get rid of his baby that he didn't want. It sent it to another fucking universe.
I mean, everybody forget about it.
And man,
Yeah.
Jesus, that's heartless. No, wait. Here's the big one. I know we've all been building up for this moment. I'm aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
So let me deliver it to you, Raven Darkholme. Okay. Think about it, gentlemen. She can look like anyone you want her to. But there's going to come a point in time where she says, why don't you want me to look like me?
That's fine. That's
she's
not
hot
that-
anyway.
Yeah.
I know she's hot, but dude, she could look like fucking anybody. Anybody.
As long as you don't have anything against Smurfs, she should be okay.
Well, the
I
moment,
like blue women. I'm fine with blue
the
women.
moment it really becomes a problem is when she's like, well, you always look like who you want me to look like. Can I look like who I want to look like? Yeah. And she turns into like fucking some muscled out dude. It's like, are you ready for this? She's like, no, I'm not ready for this.
And that's how Kyle's mind works, everybody.
I think the easiest way to piss her off would be, hey, could you turn into Gamora? So instead of a blue chick, I'd rather have a green chick with some better side boob.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't. If I was green, I would die.
Oh, I see what you did there. I feel you on that one.
I don't know. I'd tap her blue or not.
Dude, I look at Monster Girls all the time, so I'm totally fine with blue, green, whatever
But the
color
one thing
it
you
is.
have to realize too is if you're having sex with Steve, you probably have sex with like half the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
You banged a lot of
true.
dudes in the Marvel
I
universe.
don't know. I'll tell you the one reason.
You should fuck Sabretooth. That's like fucking a dog.
Okay, good point. But I have a good point. If you read the comics, there's a lot of people she fucking turns down.
That's true.
It's like Wolverine, she starts like coming on to him, and basically, I think it's the Get Mystique one that Jason Aaron wrote.
Okay, yeah.
And basically, she's like leading him on, and then when he even looks like slightly interested, she basically shoots him in the face. It's almost like, no, I didn't want you to actually show me any real interest. I figured you'd say no. You're a hero, damn it. You're supposed to say no to sex.
Not Wolverine. Who are you going up to? Think he's going to say no?
Yeah.
Look, Mystique's like, I'm not 15 years old and Asian. I should be okay.
But you can be. You can be.
And that makes it legal because you're not.
Exactly. This is a wonderful relationship we have here.
The reason I bring that up is because every time somebody asks what superpower would you be, I'd be like, I'm going to be like fucking Mystique. I can look like anybody. It's like, hey, I'm going to look like Ryu and go to Comic-Con and make $1 billion and get laid by a lot of hot girls.
Fuck you. You'd be like a professional cosplayer. You'd be
That's
the
what I'm
best
talking
around.
about.
You
That's
literally
the
are.
best fucking superpower there is. I could model for anybody. I could look like anybody, have whoever I want as a girlfriend. I would just walk around all day naked looking like Kaneko Man. I'd be like, look at my dingus. Ha 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 ha.
See, now that's another everyday advantage. Because once she observes somebody, she can look just like them.
Yeah.
So what you do, if you want to see what some girl looks like naked, just look at her for the wall. You go to your room. You turn into her. No, this bitch is unattractive.
Take
when
a
she's
picture
naked.
with your cell phone.
Yeah, What a terrible, terrible idea.
Oh my god, even more ways to make money. You look at a celebrity, turn into a celebrity
And
naked,
do the
and then
porn.
and sell them on there. Oh my god. A side story, there's this girl who I knew who, at one point, she looked like Ellen Page. Okay, Ellen
I'm
Page.
sorry, dude. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is, she looked... Yeah, I know, right? Everybody, a moment of silence for our loss. Okay. And if you didn't know, Ellen Page came out and said that she was gay. But anyways, this girl looked like Ellen Page, and she didn't have a lot of money. And I was like, I tell you how you make some money. And she was like, for that, there's that moment of like, no, I can't do that.
Yes, you can. You just have to believe in yourself.
Oh man. But yeah, totally bang Mystique. There's no question about it. That's a good power. But you're right.
That is
There's a
always
lot
going
of
to be my
use for
answer.
that.
There is a lot of use.
But I don't know. That's the best power.
It is for me. That's the best power
It's
for
a
me.
good power. At least it's not acid sweat, but your eyes aren't immune to it.
Oh,
Let's talk
yeah.
about an everyday problem.
Yeah, worse.
What the fuck is that?
That's Anarchist from the
Ecstatic.
Yeah,
Ecstatic.
ecstatic. That's what it was.
He had acid sweat, and he could form it into these acid sweat blasts, but his eyes weren't immune to it, so he had to wear goggles.
Because he used to be on a team with Venus de Milo.
Yeah, Ecstatics. That's they were both on there.
Yeah, that's right. That's one
But
that
the Ecstatics
I
was
never
nothing
read,
but
but I looked into
you
it.
didn't miss anything. Ecstatics was nothing but a bunch of fuck ups. Because they had the one person that she could teleport, but whenever she teleported, she fell asleep afterward.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny, actually. That's really cute.
Wow.
And then they had
Is it like teleportation narcolepsy?
Yeah.
Yes.
telelepsy.
Telepsy?
Telepsy.
I like telelepsy. That's good.
Telepsy.
I don't know.
It's like when you stare at somebody and just have an epileptic seizure. Telepsy.
There's also on that team was the Dupe.
Oh,
Fucking
yeah, that's
dude.
right.
God damn it.
All right, so a lot of people
We've
probably
already
don't-
discussed this, how everybody hates Duke.
Yeah, a lot of people probably don't even know who Dupe is.
I
though.
don't.
Okay, so Dupe is this guy.
No, he's not.
Okay,
He's-
Dupe
He's
is
a little flying green booger of godness.
Yeah, he is. He's a little flying green booger who can basically stuff his body full of stuff,
Infinite amount.
infinite amount of stuff. He can pull it out whenever he needs it later, and he has mastery over energy, like just energy in general. And he's Wolverine's best friend too.
He's Wolverine's
You
best
played
friend.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2, right? He's in that.
He is?
Or Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
I haven't played
two.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
No, that's not Dupe.
Is that not
That's
Duke?
not Dupe.
Oh, wait. You're right. That's that Capcom character that's the green...
Yeah, you're thinking of the cactus.
I'm sorry. For some reason I
No,
thought
no,
it was
no.
Duke. No, excuse me.
No.
My bad.
But no, Dupe is ridiculous. Like
He's super ridiculous.
And you know what his whole point of being on the Ecstatics was? He was a cameraman.
Yes.
That's great. If I was like a god, I would just do something really menial like that. I'd be like, hey, you want your lawn mowed? Okay.
I guess
You
that
physically
would be
mow it.
awesome.
Yeah, physically
exactly.
mow it.
That
With
would
one of
be,
those old push ones with just a spinning blade.
Exactly.
that would be so awesome.
Because it's like in martial arts, once you get your black belt in Aikido, you go back to white belt. So it's the same fucking thing as a super.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
you
do you
do.
do that?
Beginner
To,
mind. So
to,
you know,
yeah, it's just full circle. You go back.
Is that all martial arts or just Aikido?
Aikido's the only one I know that does it.
Yeah.
I've never known that.
Yep.
Very interesting. I'm lying. It's not interesting at all. It's kind of odd, but I can understand it.
Wasn't Duke in Exiles for a while, too?
Oh, God. I think he might have been, actually.
Yeah. Exiles is another one of those books, like, I heard it was really good, but I just never caught up with it.
Exiles was good, depending on who's writing it.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, Exiles was basically a comic where Marvel's like, we've got all these fucking characters, but what if these characters are in these other situations, but we can't write stories about that, so let's take these weird concepts for characters and pull them all together and just say they're traveling through dimensions.
Yeah.
And they're having to fix reality because something fucked it up. And so that's when you would come up with a lot of these characters like Morph from the Age of Apocalypse was one of the long-running characters, and Blink from the Age of Apocalypse too.
Or
and
like
other
the one plot line where they had together every Wolverine from every timeline
Yeah.
to solve this problem. And the only Wolverine that wasn't there was the 616 Wolverine.
He was on too many teams. He couldn't
Yeah.
make
He
it.
couldn't make
make
it.
the
He's
meeting.
too busy.
It was okay. Like, there's this cover from that series that's like 16 different Wolverines, and I was just like,
That series was good, like in the beginning, and then it kind of slacked off. And it got really good, and then it went to crap really quick. And they tried to bring it back, and when they tried to bring it back, I liked what they had, but it didn't. I don't think people wanted it again, so they didn't. But I do think Duke was on the team at one point because Hyperion was on there too.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because Hyperion was like a major part of it at one point, running around just jacking folks, traveling through different dimensions, killing people.
So here's a situation that everybody's made a joke about some more that read X-Men comic books. About the 7th time, how many people show up at Jean Grey's funeral? Because every time you know it's less. Every time you know, first time everybody's there she's ever known the first time. The second time, the third time, like half as many people's there.
Listen, this is the fucking second one of these this week. I ain't got time for this bitch dying all the goddamn time.
Right about number 7, it's just like Scott Summers just sitting out there.
I can't even show up to the 7th one. He was with them about that
That's
point.
true. He's with them at this point.
He's just Wolverine.
It's just Wolverine.
I still love you.
Get right. Where the fuck's Gambit? I'm doing a poker game, you know. I was at the first 3. It's good.
Why the hell is he? Is he GSP?
He is. He's French, dude. He's Cajun. Don't let the aliens get me.
That's not how
I
it
will
talks.
put them
Didn't
in
you
a
watch the
hamburger.
cartoon? God damn it.
Oh, man.
Actually, if you watch the original episode, the pilot episode, Wolverine's fucking Australian. So,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
have we all seen Pride of the X-Men?
Have you seen that?
I think so.
Friday the
It was their
X-Men
first
the
attempt
original
at an X-Men
pilot.
cartoon. It was terrible.
And there's a great story about how, like, the company who made it refused to go. Like, Fox was like, "This is shit. Y'all need to go change this." And the company who made it refused to go do it. So Fox had to bring in like lawyers just to make them finish it. And then they finally put a different team. Like, they switched out some people of the team, and now we have this great '90s X-Men cartoon. But it was almost a pile of steaming shit.
There was like other Dazzler was in that.
Yeah,
Colossus
Kitty Pryde was like the main character.
Kitty Pryde was in it.
Emma Frost was in it.
Yeah, Emma Frost was in it. She had this psychic spear she could throw.
Yeah,
What the
weird.
fuck? Where did
Yeah.
that come from?
I don't know.
Like I said, the best part was
It was like, excuse me. Have you ever read these X-Men comics you're writing for?
She's got blonde hair. That's all that's important.
She had blonde hair and titties. That's all you gotta know. She had a British accent. Too.
she had a British accent.
Oh, but you guys don't get it. The director had a vision of
Yeah.
how it should be.
I bet they had a vision. They need to get off that shit.
You can say that about fucking every goddamn comic book movie that comes out. Oh, I've got a vision. Fuck your vision. Read the fucking comic book for
There's
fuck's
the
sake.
thing. I don't want to see your vision. I want to see a movie about the comic book. Now, if you want to make your own movie and it's good, I will watch it.
There's sometimes some things I understand. Maybe they change because one, like you can't fit some of this stuff into like a 2-hour movie, or it's like a lot of people don't agree with this, but I don't mind the change they made to the end of Watchmen.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
You know, like
Forgive him, Cthulhu.
I was going to say, a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, this is the Cthulhu craziness demon thing," but it's like it doesn't really make sense to me. More of what they did with him in the movie, Dr. Manhattan, like using his energy to make a bomb, so people thought he was crazy and they had to be, careful of him. That made more sense than we're going to create this giant fake Cthulhu creature and have it teleport in and just kill everybody.
It
Actually,
doesn't have to make sense. It's awesome.
I think that ending worked much better for comic book medium, and it worked much better for the '80s.
Yeah.
However, I think when they were doing the movie, I think that was the best choice was to do it the way they did. And I know a lot of people give that movie shit, and the only thing I really give a shit on is its soundtrack. It's like, we're going to take these really good songs, but we're going to put them in there the most awkward way possible so it doesn't sound right. But other than that, I love that movie.
It was a good movie. It just had a shitty ending.
Like, I didn't have a problem with the new Superman movie. Everybody's like, well, it's not like the comics. And I think it was...
I'll tell you what.
Was it you or Stinson who actually said that your dad said, that's not my Superman?
That was my dad.
Okay,
My dad, after watched it, he was like, I hate that movie. He's like, why? That was not my Superman. I'm like, that's the point. That is not your Superman. This is the...
But
Here's the
thing
thing.
is,
There's
it's
one thing-
2014.
That's true. Now,
13 was when-
him killing the person or not, that's fine. However, anybody with the least amount of common sense would have grabbed the guy before he could fly him somewhere else and fight there in the middle of the wilderness. Why don't you find him in the middle of a fucking city where everybody dies?
Yeah.
Just take him somewhere else. You can fly at the speed of fucking light, man. Come on.
Why the fuck was he drinking beer? I'm just saying.
He did that in Returns, and he became like a creepy stalker. So
Now,
this time
Return
he
was
didn't do
really
that.
weird.
Yeah.
Like, banging Lois Lane, knocking her up and leaving her to raise, and having Cyclops raise his kid for her.
Unless it's in another universe like the Spider-Man shit you just said.
Yeah. And then, like, flying outside the window, staring at the kid. Just creepy.
Well, that was Bryan Singer, and that was him trying to pay an homage to Richard Donner. So he wanted to kind of continue the story, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
I like Bryan Singer as a director, but that didn't work.
That was bad.
To me, that was the worst Superman movie. And the only thing that makes that movie watchable is Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor.
Parker Posey's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Wrong!
And was it Cal Penn from the two fucks who go to White Castle?
Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, he's Kumar. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's Kumar, but he's one of the henchmen. He's one of Kevin Spacey's henchmen in that movie. He was kind of funny.
Cal
He
Penn.
just keeps kicking Superman when he's down on that island of Kryptonite.
That sounds like somebody from Krypton.
Yeah.
It's Cal Penn. Cal Penn is here.
That
Cal-El?
sounds like-
Cal-Pen? Cal-Pencil?
Yeah. Oh, man.
We haven't
Superheroes.
talked on here about Superman trying to shave yet. We talked about it off the show.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
That's another problem. It's like Superman, he's like indestructible. So how does he shave? Like, he can't just use a razor. I mean, the razor would just break on his face when you try to cut the hair.
We've all seen the cartoon and the part where he does it in the comic. He uses a mirror
With his laser vision.
with his laser vision, and I know how you feel
Yeah,
about
the
that.
problem is that if his laser vision is that fucking hot, he's going to blow the mirror up when he looks at
Exactly.
it.
All right, and I think Shane had the best answer to that ever. It's probably a mirror from his named spaceship because, as Shane
Everything.
pointed
Yes,
out,
everything that he ever needs conveniently is in that spaceship.
I think his parents were just the best
Including
like
his
hackers
parents.
ever. Yeah.
Or alternatively, since he can outrun the Flash, and the Flash can run at the speed of light.
Can he outrun his semen?
I don't know.
Damn it, Lois, pull out!
So what he does is he fires his laser beams out into space, and he flies ahead of it and gets in front of it. He moves his space around real fast and burns his hair off.
I just imagine that. I just imagine like pew 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 pew. He's firing all these different directions, and he just flies out. There's like bam bam bam, get hit in the face.
What if he misses his spot? Damn it, gotta go again.
Exactly.
That's got to be the only guy that requires like miles and miles of track to shave.
Exactly.
Or maybe he just flies the sun and sticks his face in it. And melts his hair off.
It's not like it's gonna kill him.
Sun.
Yeah.
He can just sit in
Oh
it.
God, that's right.
It just makes him more powerful.
It would make his hair harder.
It would.
I think I was the one asking how he does the spit curl. Like you have to
Yes.
when he gives
Oh,
himself
yeah.
a haircut,
He
you have
melts
to be
his
really
hair.
precise
Yeah.
with
He
that.
melts his hair into the position. That's why it looks wet.
I bet that smells terrible.
Probably smells like metal. I mean, his hair is so tough.
It smells like that's what happens when he does it.
Was it Superman 4 where like they made an entire clone of him off of one like strand of hair?
Yes,
Yeah.
that thing, whatever that was supposed to be.
Solar Man, or he had a name. I
don't remember.
I can't remember it. Yeah.
It's funny because they would have to break that down in order to use the DNA. How the fuck did they do that?
Yeah.
What did they use?
Well, I mean, isn't that where Bizarro came from? Wasn't he a failed clone of Superman?
Yeah. Yes.
I thought Bizarro was from another dimension where everything was backwards. He was from Bizarro World, I thought.
Maybe
it depends on who wrote it.
I think it
Probably
depends on which
depends who-
version of the
Okay.
origin
because I think in
story.
the cartoon, the Superman cartoon, he was a failed clone from Star Labs.
In New 52, he's a clone.
Okay.
Because they introduced him not too long ago in New 52, and that was his whole deal. Is he tried to clone Superman, and because of this event that happened, Lex Luthor's like, "Well, I need to take him out now." And they even tell him like, "Well, he's not really done.
He's not done cooking, guy. God, give him another 10 minutes.
You know how long it takes to bake a Superman? Come
But
on.
I think Shane's right. I think one of the versions of Bizarro was actually from a different dimension.
Well, yeah, there is an alternate because there's a Bizarro world because there's a Bat Zorro too. In
Is
Bat
he just a
Zorro-
big idiot?
No,
I don't know if you can tell, but I
think
just
his thing
twitched.
I'm trying to remember what his thing was. I think he killed his parents and decided to become evil. Was what his
Oh,
thing
okay.
was. I mean, but no, he's still like the big retarded guy.
okay.
Everybody in Bat Zorro world is, or in Bizarro world is.
I have a question.
Okay.
This may have actually been answered in the comics, but since I don't read a lot, you'll have to tell me. How the fuck does Rogue have children? No dick can touch that vagina as far as I know.
So she had a child with Magneto in one of
Okay.
the alternate realities.
Yeah.
How did his dick survive?
All right.
He used his magnetic powers to basically not let them physically touch.
That's not
Magnetic
even funny.
condom.
No.
No, this is
They've
Magneto.
done
He can
this
make solid magnetic force if he wants. He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
because they're dating in the current timeline, or at least they were last I was reading. And the thing is that they've done this since the 90s, where he's one of the few people that she can be a lover with because he can affect the magnetic fields between them. So technically, they feel like they're touching, but they're not actually touching.
Man, that's bullshit.
Also, at one point,
That old man and a young girl ain't right.
Man, that's fucked up, man. Shit.
there was at one point, and I forget the story. It was around the time Extreme X-Men was going on, but it wasn't in.
Were they on rollerblades drinking Mountain Dew?
Not that kind of extreme. but they weren't in the Extreme X-Men comic. But what had happened was they both retired because her and Gambit lost their powers.
Oh yeah.
And like they thought Rogue was pregnant at the end of that, and that would have been perfect time for her to have a kid because she had
And
no
then she gets her
powers.
power back and kills the baby.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus Christ.
She's like,
That could happen.
I know all about being a baby now. Oh god, how fucked that would be.
God, that's terrible.
I was like-
I feel bad for even saying that.
I was like, do y'all remember in
I'm lying,
X-Men?
I don't.
That's why this show's called The Offender.
Do you guys remember X-Men Evolution?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so at one point, I can't remember the kid's name from X-Men Evolution who could throw the spike. I think his name was just
Spike.
Spike. Yeah,
Yeah.
Spike. Anyway, so he's trying to film this like music video.
What was his name, Evan?
Yeah,
it was
it
Evan.
was
It was
Evan.
Evan. But he's trying to film this music video,
He's
and
black.
Oh, cool.
he's getting Kitty Pryde and Rogue to dance, but Rogue's not as good of a dancer. So he actually convinces Rogue to just touch Kitty just enough to get her dance abilities so that she can be as good of a dancer as Kitty Pryde. And I'm like, what a fucking blatant abuse of your power.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If I had that power, I'd probably do that stuff all the time.
You know what? You know
Hey,
what
you're
awesome
good. You're good at
ability would
math.
be? You know what awesome ability would be? Taskmasters.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's
That's
just
fucking
like-
awesome.
All right, now I can play basketball.
But
now
then-
I can play football.
But then Captain America has to show up once a week to beat your ass to keep you humble.
But if I was Taskmaster, well, in fact, he stopped being a supervillain at some point. He just started. He just started
got
training
his own
people.
series as a mercenary. He wasn't really like a bad guy.
I think he's a bad guy
for
now,
hire.
at the end of the day.
I think he is.
I wouldn't be a bad
But when
guy
he had
with
his
that
own
power. Why
series,
would
he
you?
was just a mercenary.
I like when he fought Deadpool, and Deadpool put on the whole fucking suit full of fucking steaks. God, that was awesome.
What?
Yeah.
It was when they made Taskmaster purple and red instead of blue and white.
I remember he was doing such ridiculous stuff that didn't make any sense. So copying it was useless for Taskmaster because it was nothing. There was nothing
because at one point he was actually doing the Three Stooges gimmick, and that's when Taskmaster was like, "You're just, you're fucking with me," basically. But it worked.
Yep.
Also, if you read Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Taskmaster's like the only guy that actually has a chance of killing Deadpool. Like he's the last guy left that they actually think can kill Deadpool.
I always thought he was a pretty awesome character.
He is.
I mean, just the concept of his power. I don't know anything else about him other than his power and stuff. Like, I don't know what his origin is. I don't know if they've ever talked about it.
I don't remember. I know they talked about when he first got his abilities and stuff like that, but I don't know his whole origin. I know he trained like the replacement for Captain America.
Yeah.
U.S. agent. You know, the other thing I remember about him is that he could watch a videotape of like Captain America fighting and watch it fast forward, so then he could fight twice as fast using their ability.
That's so ridiculous.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't his superpower cancel out his memory? Like his short or long term memory? I read one shot where like basically the person that was his contact through the agency was his wife, but he couldn't remember, so it was all sad. But that brings me to the point. How the fuck do you remember your anniversary if you're Taskmaster?
I don't know what it meant.
You tattoo it on yourself.
Yeah.
But then you just be like, what the fuck are these numbers?
My favorite
Anniversary
thing,
this day.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Whose anniversary is it?
Anniversary of what?
My favorite thing about Taskmaster was when they were talking about how he gets all of his different tools, because like obviously he has Captain America's shield and he has his swords from somewhere.
He has web slingers.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like he was
arrows.
mimicking. One of the issues was showing how he was trying to mimic Spider-Man. But, part of Spider-Man's major part of his fighting style is his web slingers. So he actually made, like, his own web slingers just from watching Spider-Man use his. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if you could do that with, like, say if you saw Reed Richards use the Ultimate Nullifier. I guess you couldn't do that, but for some reason you can do, web slingers.
There was that TV show Heroes. There was a character...
You mean the one that's coming back?
Yeah, it's coming back. I forgot about that. But, like, in one of the earlier seasons... There was a character who her power was basically the same thing as Taskmaster. They call it muscle mimicry. And so when she realized that she was mimicking people, she just started watching videos of things like plumbing
and wrestling. She did the 619 from Rey Mysterio because somebody tried to rob like where she worked. It was like a Burger King or something.
Yeah, and she fucked
back
them
to
up.
Burger King.
So I just got finished reading some of the new Thunderbolts,
which I hear is great.
It's fucking awesome. It's hilarious. It's
Who's
great.
in it?
Frank Castle, New Venom, Deadpool.
Isn't Elektra in there too?
God, that's a fucked
the leader.
up
Red Hulk is the team leader.
Red Hulk's team leader. It's a lot of people that will
Whoa!
kill.
It's fucking
It was
great.
basically like, we need a team who's not afraid to kill.
Exactly.
Is Red Hulk Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thunderbolt Ross.
I was introduced to a character named Mercy. Mercy is a woman with pink hair who likes to help people expedite their end, so to speak.
Okay.
Now, she has pink hair and she loves killing people. So, me being the nerd that I am, I was like, why is she so angry? Why does she want to kill everybody? And then I started thinking. I was like, I haven't seen Poison in a while. And then it dawned on me. Mercy is Poison from Final Fight. And the reason that she's killing everybody is because motherfuckers try to put a dick on her. And she's like, I don't have a dick, you motherfuckers. I'm a woman. Death, 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 death. She's like the female overfiend. Killing everybody with a vagina laser. And I'm cool with that.
Does she use nipple magic as well?
I hope she does. She can use it on me.
I was thinking it too. Kunoichi Lady Ninjas, where it's like the woman firing laser beams out of her vagina and like shooting lightning out of her nipples.
I just be like, Mercy, you can kill me, but let me look up your skirt first. I want to see if you have pink pubes. Yes, death.
Sorry.
And then she shags, you'll never know.
As long as that's a fucking honest way to die.
That's
It's like,
honest way
that's
to-
the fucking way. If you're gonna die with your boots on. It's like I saw the pink muff. I can handle it rough. Go ahead and kill me.
You have a lot of weird expectations of life, don't you?
It's obvious that I stay home a lot.
It's obvious he's got a large.
That's not even true. Almost every time I go down to Hummingbird, I see your ass there.
That's true. I do hang out with them a lot. I'm trying to understand them because I am straight edge. So I'm like, if I hang around drunk people enough, perhaps I can understand them and speak their language.
I want to learn these people's language.
And I'm pretty good at it, you know.
Tell me the language of your people.
But
Dang.
I must reiterate, if you're going to die, why not die looking at a beautiful fucking pink muff as opposed to like shitting the bed and dying of a heart attack or fucking, you know, any of the ways that people normally die. I'd rather die with a fucking beautiful woman.
So if you had to choose your death, that would be your death. Your death would be looking at
maybe not
somebody's
specifically
skirt.
her, but yes, it would have something to do with sex and a beautiful woman because that's how I want to fucking go out.
Fuck and go out.
You know,
Fuck and
Fucking
go out.
go out.
you said, speaking of shitting your bed and all that. So one thing that like we were coming up with character concepts for a Marvel game actually, and one thing that I like always thought is
Everybody
like,
just face palmed in the room. I just want you guys to know.
why do you never? It's because they know what I'm going to say. Why do you never see comic book characters who deal with like everyday problems? Like I know somebody recently ran an article on like the best comic book characters with disabilities, and like there's some really good stuff in there, like Misty Knight not having an arm because she has a robotic arm. And,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Technically Tony Stark has the
kid in the wheelchair.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Is that one that can change his wheelchair and
I
other
don't know,
things?
what's his name? The Gizwiz or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember.
It's a race car with a battering ram now. What?
But my point was, you never see like the embarrassing shit. Like you never see, no pun intended. You never see a superhero like if Captain America had IBS.
Oh,
like if somebody's in the middle of this epic fight, and it's like you can't stop. But, it's like, oh, my irritable bowel syndrome.
You see Captain America, like, running with his cheeks clenched to the bathroom really quick.
I would just like to think if it's somebody like Juggernaut, like, that's just more of an intimidation factor for him. He would just shit his pants in the middle of the
Or the Hulk would probably just be terrible, too.
He would just shit his pants. Or the Hulk would throw it.
Oh, my gosh. Worst one. No, worst one. Worse than the Hulk. Worse than Juggernaut. Giant man with IBS. Giant man, giant shits.
Jeez.
we started on shit and we somehow made it back to shit.
I mean, circle of life.
But here's my thing. So, I figured since Marvel would not have the balls enough to give one of their main superheroes IBS and have them deal with it, I was going to make a character who, it was kind of like Iron Man in the sense that he had an exosuit, but his exosuit was powered off of his IBS. Therefore, he has two tubes that feed into his mouth, one for liquid and one for food, right? But it pumps in like nothing but like dairy and like fatty foods and like chicken fingers and shit like that, right? So that, it actually causes his body to have IBS more. Maybe like barbecue chicken, just to send it home.
So this is
I want to be in that suit just so I can
But
have
the
that
other pipe would fuel it. The other pipe would go, from the anal cavity up into
This
the
is
machine.
like some fucked up human centipede.
It is not that fucked up, sir.
Technically, it would be going to a microbial fuel cell to power the suit pile. It has nothing to do about going back into the mouth.
Thank you. He's not re-eating it.
Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest is actually Takashi Miike.
But here's my question: where is it coming from? Does he have to refill his suit always? Because what happens if he runs out of like food?
He stops by Dairy Queen, just gets a few blizzards.
Just like Tony Stark,
Blizzard in my
has
mouth,
the
blizzard in
different
my pants.
cells.
I'm done.
Just like Tony Stark has the different power cells, you have different backup shit. And if he's a clever enough inventor, he'll find ways to like have food teleported into his mouth
I'm
or
guessing
something.
his arch enemy would basically have the ability to make people constipated.
That's a very
Cut
good
off your
point.
source of power now.
This guy just lands in a giant pink suit and blasts Pepto-Bismol in his face.
I snuck into your house in the middle of the night and I changed your fuel cells into Pepto-Bismol. You'll never shit again.
That also reminds me, like, you never see, like, the male superheroes, who wear the fucking, like, skin-tight shit like Wonder Man, who's like, oh, I gained 3 pounds, I don't want to go out in my costume like that. Because it shows in that suit. But that reminds me, I think it was a game that you ran. I came up with this character concept of this dude who lost his body because he was he went to these aliens who were like offering to switch his body out, and they would do the exercise so that he didn't have to. But remember,
That sounds awesome.
it screwed him up, and so he got this like reject alien body that his powers only worked half the time because it was one of the failed bodies.
Oh, man.
I remember you
That
were
sounds
like,
pretty awesome. I don't
because you
remember
were
that.
like, that's a really good and original concept, but it really wouldn't work for the game I'm running. I just remember,
I could see me saying
yeah, and I was just like, I don't know if he actually liked it or if he just really did not want me to play that.
Well, okay, so
Moment of truth.
we'll end it on this. So when I've run like role-playing games, and I've done several using like a Marvel system set in the Marvel universe, there have been some times where the concept are things like, hey, imagine you're all young mutants, okay, on the X-Men. Okay, cool. So what are you going to make? Somebody's like, I'm going to make a French-Canadian Indian. What the fuck did this come from?
A French Canadian Indian who hates people, so he doesn't go around other people.
Literally.
Didn't they make a movie about that where they did martial arts? A French Canadian Indian?
That's Brotherhood of the
That's a
World.
brother.
Yeah.
And that guy's actually the son of the guy who did Iron Chef.
Let's see.
He's related to him somehow because he's
He
related.
might not be
to
the son, but he's related to the guy who did Iron Chef because
Yeah.
he
He
did
does the
his
American
own
one.
version of
It
Iron
was,
Chef.
it
for
was a
all.
French Canadian Indian
Yeah.
that knows Chinese martial arts.
Yes.
Who was in some other country at the time.
And his
Regardless, that's a good movie.
and
It
his
was a
friend,
good movie.
his friend looked like Gerard Depardieu, but it
Yeah.
wasn't.
And somehow the dude,
Oh.
the bad guy, got Ivy's sword from Soul
Yeah,
Calibur.
it did.
That's
And Milana Kabushi's boobs were in it.
Yeah.
Hey, nice. Hey, you never said the name of your superhero, the Shitman guy. What's his name?
IBS super suit. I don't know. I'll come up with something. I forgot.
Let me offer this backstory.
Oh God.
This is a side story. He gets tired of being a superhero, so he decides to go into the world of professional wrestling. And he dons the name Brett the Shitman Ford. And his move is the Sharpshooter. Okay, this show's done.
All right, that's it. So if you guys want to email us anything to talk about or you want to ask us any questions, you can send them to us at offenderspodcast@gmail.com.
We will be talking about the stuff that you have emailed us already next week, but we're doing a crossover this week, so that's why we had to.
We're crossing over, man. Crossing the stream.
Amalgam Comics.
Yeah. So, Steven, if people want to follow you directly, like through Twitter, what's your Twitter handle?
Twitter. Best ways to do it is Twitter.
Twitter
And it's Stephen Stephen Wilds WILDS.
Okay, so there you go. All right, guys. So until next time, I'm Kyle.
I like Monster Girls.
And I have to fly at the speed of light to shade.
And I'm gonna come up with a name for that IBS superhero.
Y'all have a good one.
Subscribe.